Hey guys, I'm outside of my new screened-in porch. Got Pablo next to me. Got Finnegan over there. Hi everybody. Beautiful, beautiful day in the neighborhood. Let's give thanks to the Lord. Dear Heavenly Father, we just praise you and thank you for your kind abundance that you share with us. We are so blessed to live in your domain. Please forgive us for all the sins we've committed and certainly for the ones we're going to do in the future. Thank you for sending your son, Jesus Christ, down here to die in excruciating pain, hung on a tree so we could join you in eternity. We just pray in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. So appreciate y'all being here. It's tough life. Must be nice, Josh. I don't have a screened-in porch. I'm 52. I never had a screened-in porch either, man. Never had it. And I'm not going to say I'm blessed because I have a screened-in porch, because we're all blessed all the times. Everybody's blessed. I drives me crazy to say I'm so blessed because of my good fortune. No. All right, so I'm outside. Can you all hear me okay? I just want to make sure everybody can hear me okay. No idea what the markets are doing. It's pretty interesting, isn't it? I want to start the anyway, so the point being, when I'm outside, I'm kind of away from the Wi-Fi, so I'm not sure if it's going through. So give me, as long as it's not, buffering. Can y'all? So give me a thumbs up if y'all can. All right, sweet, Tony Moseri. Don't mess with Tony because he paid off his house. Didn't realize how much I pay in taxes. So far cry what I was paying the mortgage. Yeah, man, 100%. I mean, taxes no joke, but relative to the mortgage. All right, so oh, thanks, Annette. Annette says I'm great. Thank you. Yeah, right on, John. John says in my email, John, I sent you an email, by the way. John says a great way to spend lunchtime. All right, so first thing I want to share with you, we're going to go to this. This came across my feed, and stop that. You're such a knucklehead. And I saw this right here. Legal Insurrection is a great website. I don't follow it that much like I used to. I just, as I get older, I start not, and I don't want to say I don't care, but I don't know. I'm cool with God, man. I'm getting further and further from the panic and more in line with God. It's crazy. Look, many places yet to go in terms of my faith travel, but still, it's just, I'm just more aligned with God than has ever been in my life right now. And it's amazing to me. And it has less to do with, like, kind of a quasi-Catholic, has literally nothing to do with being Catholic or religion, other than just my individual faith with God through Jesus Christ. And actually, Catholicism, if anything, isn't the salvation for me. And I mean, it's just mainstream religion. I'm not, I'm not against it. For me, my faith journey has been, despite mainstream religion, if that makes sense. And I cannot. All right, so let me let Knucklehead out. I can't tell you how many people have been turned off because of mainstream religion. And C.S. Lewis told us that. Oh, you trying to go outside too, Pablo? That religion is the biggest impetus, to one's relationship with the Creator of all things. Anyways, but so I'm reading that. I came across. It's so overwhelming. I'm getting too oppressed to think about where our country is heading, says someone who wrote into Bill Jacobson, who's a law professor at Cornell, who's done some great work fighting the mandates. And just I've been following him for many moons. He's just done some great work. And so periodically I'm called to give a pet talk because that has been the reality of our political system over the last 14 years. It's not easy. I feel what readers feel. While I play therapist, I'm also the patient. It weighs heavily on me, no more so than now. I received this message from a reader who is unsubscribing because she said, I need to step away because it's so overwhelming. What's up, babe? And that's the feeling I have almost daily, says this guy. I just don't agree with that at all. I'm like sitting there thinking, there's never been how could you not be optimistic with all that's happened? I mean, we talk about the sheep and all that. It's like, the sheep are so they're delusional, but they're making that choice. They have a right to be. You cannot now. Like I posted a thing on. I never liked Ben Shapiro. I never understood this. I never understood the appeal of that guy, other than he trolls the left. Okay, and he takes on ignorant college kids on college campuses. Wow. But I just whatever. But I posted something where Ben Shapiro was telling everybody to get the vax. He's calling us dopes if we didn't. And this is December 2020. And some guy in his defense said, well, we were all kind of ignorant about that. And I said, okay, I wasn't, and I said at the end of the day, you had a choice to be ignorant, but now you have no choice to be ignorant anymore. The days of being ignorant is over. Now you have to there's no way anyone today can sit there and say this stuff is legitimate. You can say that, and that's a choice you've made, but you've made the choice on your own. Before, it's just ignorance says, yeah, I just trust the white lab coats. And as someone who has been enthralled with this anti-scientism movement, because I saw it on climate change, man. I saw it on climate change. It went over to other jabba jabbas on other kind of, let's just say, I'm just going to like M&Ms with an R in there and DPTs. I'm just going to throw those letters in there, MM and R, DP and T, and all these other things. It's, the iron lung, as everyone says, if you don't do this, you're going to be an iron lung. Anyone who takes the time to read can realize that there's another side of the story. You are blind, not you guys, but it's blinding ignorance now to say you did not know about this stuff. And you got to think the next step logically would be if they can lie about that, what else are they lying about? You see what I'm saying? And then you start seeing it, you're like, oh, but yet I'm still here. It doesn't really affect me that much. Could it? Sure. And I'm gonna read this book on the Nazis' occupation. Well, about Leningrad. What's not what the hell they call it? When they surround the city of Leningrad for like 900 days, and the massive amounts of death and destruction that happened because the Nazis were surrounding Leningrad. And I've read books on the Savage Continent about the aftermath of World War II. We talked about the Civil War, ersatz and the Confederacy. These things do happen, but they don't happen often. And they do. I mean, you could be in Dresden, you could be in Tokyo, you could be in Leningrad, you could be in the Deep South, but that's not very often. And I'm still sitting there thinking, so that is literally the worst it can get. And you're sitting there thinking, if that's the worst it can get, it's pretty good. What do we? I don't understand. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm sitting there thinking, from an investment perspective, go back to what I was talking about the other day. If the markets are down, inherently that means there's more upside. There's less downside and more upside. The scary part is when the markets are way up here with PE ratios at 35 to 40. Those days are gone. The scary thing is when the bond markets are way, way up here with the yields at 1.5% to 2%. Those days are gone. I'm sitting there thinking, you survived all this stuff, dudes. You survived the mandates. You survived the biggest decline in the bond market in history, on top of a big decline in the stock market. Not anywhere near the biggest, but we're talking, this never happened. It's crazy to me. You know that, the biggest assault on your decency has happened these last 2 years, and you've survived. Now, many of you might have got the J's. I get it. It's okay. I'm not mad at you. I think you're nuts if you go beyond that for the new things they're pushing, but whatever, man. I mean, there are people. I went down to pick up a prescription for Chloe the other day. I couldn't believe there's like 4 or 5 people in there, like waiting to get their boosts. A couple of young people too. It's like, what are you? Whatever. They can do whatever the hell they want, but I can't imagine anyone here is doing that because it's so blindingly obvious. The truth's out there for anyone to see. And at this stage, I'm sitting there thinking, if the truth's out there for anyone to see and people don't want to see it, that's okay. That's their choice. But I think a lot more people want to see it because they're like, yeah, I fell for this, but I'm not falling for it anymore. And now you can say, look, I don't think we landed on the moon. Would I say that 2 years ago? No. hey, I didn't really pay much mind to it. I don't care anymore. I just don't. I'm like, whatever. After this day and age, any conspiracy is open for debate anymore. You know what I'm saying? You can say, conspiracy. Well, okay. I don't think JFK was assassinated by Lee Harvey Oswald. I don't. You can say, that's crazy. Okay, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? It's interesting too, because when I first started this channel, I did talk about this is again pre-COVID, but the other jabs that are out there and my disdain for how people just fell for the jabs. But I didn't say it very often or very heavily like I do now. And I wasn't shying away from it, and I certainly was never shying away from climate change there because that's complete bullcrap. And it's just the idea that CO2 parts per million is going to make us all burn to death is freaking nuts. They've lied on so many things, but now it's gone from climate change to the pre-COVID thing, if you know what I'm saying, the jabs that you can pretty much. I don't think anyone out there is. I mean, there's a couple guys on my YouTube channel. One guy sitting there saying, "How dare you question Einstein?" I'm like, it's not just me who questions him. I mean, freaking Tesla, Steinmetz. I mean, Dowdy, all kinds of people have challenged Einstein. It's not just me, but he's like, how dare you? I'm like, okay, I get it. You believe in the light bends. I understand. You know what I'm saying? But used to do that, you'd be sent, to freaking Japanese internment camps. And now you don't have to do that anymore. It's great. It's great. And it's breathtaking how wonderful it is to see that people are seeing things that before they would not have seen, if that makes sense. That doesn't mean you're going to have good politics. You'll never have good politics. I mean, politics is the art of compromise. And you're always going to have clowns. I mean, look at who Ron DeSantis just endorsed, some anti-Trumper. And I was like, that was the only guy DeSantis endorsed was an anti-Trumper. I thought that was kind of odd. But the point is, you can't rely on politics to live your life. You rely on yourself through the power of God. And once you have that strong sense of backbone that God is in charge, everything else has become secondary. It's amazing to me. And I just hope none of you guys are out there like depressed. Like, man, I can't get, because none of that, but I follow some other websites of, I don't just follow right wingers. I follow Caitlin Johnstone, and she's definitely a far lefty, but she's against what's going on in Ukraine. I don't like that guy, Chris Hedges, because he's a lefty, but he's a lefty who he's a typical lefty. He doesn't think. He just, he's a Noam Chomsky kind of lefty, just like I don't think America's bad at it. I mean, I don't follow this. I mean, I think we have a military industrial complex. Absolutely. We should, we've expanded the empire well beyond what we should have done. At the end of the day, I still think America is a good guys. When the Stars and Stripes comes in a bad place, you're going to be happy it came. So I'm 100% pro-America, 100%. That doesn't mean I like our military actions. I don't like our president and all that, but I don't know, these guys hate America. They think America is the axis of literal evil, and I don't believe that at all. With that said, I follow a lot of these guys, and they're like so scared of nuclear war. Oh my goodness, the radiation is going to kill us all. I'm like, I was reading and watching Bill Maher. I just saw a clip with Neil deGrasse Tyson on there. And look, Neil deGrasse Tyson ain't the brightest bulb, I get you, but he's serving a purpose. And I don't think he's as dumb as it comes across. I'm not sure what purpose he's serving, but he serves a purpose. Anyway, so when he said to Bill Maher and what's that Schmarkanish guy? Oh, just another squishy white guy with bald head and glasses. Just these guys are a dime a dozen. He looks just like Dave Ramsey. Just these white guys with bald heads and glasses who are kind of squishy, middle of the roaders. They're just a dime a dozen. And Schmarkanish is on there. And I just saw a clip where Neil deGrasse Tyson says, you don't have to worry about the radiation killing us through nuclear bombs anymore. And Bill Barr is like, what? He goes, yeah, you got to worry about, about getting destroyed by the bomb itself, but the radiation, you don't have to worry about it anymore. And I said, holy crap, I couldn't believe this, because this is what some of us, the conspiracy people, have said about Hiroshima. Like, there's more to the story there, man. And then never mind, maybe Nagasaki. I haven't looked too much at Nagasaki, but Hiroshima definitely leaves a lot to be desired in terms of the A-bomb. And it was just kind of funny. And you see Bill Maher saying, what? He goes, no, you don't have to worry about the radiation. You got to worry about, the bomb itself. And Bill Maher says, well, I don't worry about that. I've just been worried about radiation. And like Caitlin Johnstone, same thing, like, nuclear war and radiation. It's going to be a nuclear winter. And I just, it's silly. It's silly. And it's funny. And the point being is, when Neil deGrasse Tyson starts saying, no, you don't have to worry about that, you're like, whoa, where'd this come from out of nowhere? and you start thinking there's something else that's happening. I don't know what it is, but it's fun. And point being is you don't have to worry about nuclear war. You don't have to worry about the Russians invading. You don't have to worry about the Chinese invading. I mean, if you want to worry about it, be my guest. Why though? For heaven's sake, man. Jeez. How is China going to invade the United States, man? I mean, good night. Come on. This is why we need to bring back everybody so we can have a true defensive mechanism, not an offensive war, which we haven't fought since World War II. Did they ever declare Korean a war? Was Korea ever declared a war? I know it was like police action. I don't think they've ever declared. I think was the last war he ever declared. I mean, I guess Iraq was, but I don't know. Anyway, long story short, enough that crap. Let's just protect the borders, and we're never going to get invaded. Anyway, so much to be positive about, man. All right, so I just wish, but you're not Squish. Ed, old bald white guys with glasses. I mean, I'm talking about the squishy ones, Spurconish. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they're just, yeah, all right. U.S. enemies are within the borders. Okay. I mean, this. All right. This kind of goes back to let's get the Muslims over there before they get us over here. And I said, if there are 1 billion Muslims and even 10% were as crazy as supposedly Osama bin Laden was, we'd all be dead by now. And yet here we are. You know what I'm saying? So I don't believe the narrative at all about this. I mean, I don't even believe the narrative. I mean, look, are there Antifa clowns? Yeah, obviously. But for most normal people, it's easy to avoid these people. Just, look, I'm in the suburbs of North Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Atlanta's literally 40 minutes down there. Maddie goes to Georgia Tech. She's at Midtown, for heaven's sake. We go down there quite a bit. Could I be accosted and shot? Yeah, it could be. The likelihood is minimal. You stay away from danger zones. You all know I'm not going to get into what a danger zone is. It doesn't take a rocket science to figure out who's doing the crime. You stay away from these places. You stay away and you're going to be good to go, man. You have to worry about the crime. If there are all these terrorists out there with a dirty bomb, they would have done it already, and they haven't done it. It doesn't mean they can't. Well, we know they can because they did it in other places. Waco comes to mind, Ruby Ridge. I'm not going to say Oklahoma City, but I'm going to wink Oklahoma City and who knows what else. Let's put it this way. I don't put it beyond some group of people with bad intentions who are already in charge, if that makes sense. All right. Yeah, 100%, John. 100%. Yep. Yeah, well, so Jill makes a good point. China's already invaded without troops. Yep. The influence operation has nothing to do with guns and bombs, but just as dangerous. I don't know if it's just as dangerous. I mean, if they want to pin something on you, they can. Jill, I guarantee if they want to pin on you for, peddling little kids, they could do that. I mean, it's just, I guarantee, man. So there's a guy, Elliot Cutler up in Maine. Oh boy. And he's I think he's been arrested for child porn and stuff like that. And he used to be a pretty prominent guy in Maine, a pretty prominent businessman. And, it's just, look, man, what's he doing? Who knows? I don't know. At this stage, though, he was a pretty prominent guy, and especially with Chinese relations. It's very interesting, this guy, Elliot Cutler. And a lot of the Democrats said it's because of Elliot Cutler that Paul LePage won governorship, because he ran as an independent, theoretically siphoning off Democratic votes. Yeah, maybe. Anyway, but he was very active in the Chinese-American relations and business and stuff like that. And a guy up in Maine just suddenly drew the ire of the FBI through, I forgot what it was, but someone narked on him for doing something. It's just like the whole, look, man, he probably is. I don't know. If they want you bad enough, they're going to get you. You know what I'm saying? It's just, there's just no two ways around that. So you just, you try to keep a low profile as much as you can. I mean, obviously I'm on YouTube, but I'm not, I'm not telling people to overthrow the government or take up arms. I just, you should have firearms just for your self-protection, but I mean, it's silly, man. I don't know. I'm just optimistic. And then I see some of these young guys coming up and I'm just like, man, these guys are crushed. I'm telling you, man, there's a bunch of people out there who are freaking taking the baton. and they're just going to kick ass and take names, dudes. I love it. And I just think that it's almost like we're at a fork in the road. You can choose to be the ignorant mass, or you can choose to be the people who say, I'm not following along that path. I'm going to take a different one, and I'm going to create my own life, which would be harder, I grant you, but it's going to be more rewarding. And when I say you, I'm not saying you guys, I'm saying the general populace. And I think more people are getting it. And with some of the things with Obamacare that allows you to separate from work, other things like MetaShare. So we'll jump back on MetaShare. My wife and I just talked about that yesterday. Here in a couple months, once our Cobra's out, so health insurance, it's always going to be an issue, but you do have catastrophic coverage without pre-existing conditions to worry about. Not so much on MetaShare, but Obamacare. Yeah, it sucks. You're going to pay money for it and all that, but there are options out there that you can allow you to pursue the life that you want to pursue, whatever it is. And you don't have to work as a machinist at a shop for 30 years. You don't have to keep grinding the gears for 30. You can do whatever the hell you want. Now, obviously, it's scaring away because someone's got to do this stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I was on some guy's Substack, Matt Stoller Substack. And I'm a big fan of Matt. He's a lefty, but he talks about the monopolies. And I like him. You must be a lefty, Josh. I'm just not. I'm not a lefty. I'm a righty, and I'm not going to allow people to take away the word lefty or the word righty like they did with gay or queer like that, just because they want to say you're a lefty, and I say, okay, I guess I'm not. No, you're not going to be able to do that to me. I'm not a lefty. I'm a righty, 100%. Just because I have a different point of view does not make me on the left. I absolutely not. I'm a nationalist on the right, nationalist populist. And that's just a fact, 100%. So you can say I'm a lefty because I have no qualm with Social Security and I don't hate the Fed. That's fine. You're wrong, dude. I'm absolutely a righty. And I will vote Republican because the Democrats are insane. The Republicans are just bad. And I'd rather have bad than insane. Anyway, point being is, so it's just emailing or commenting with a couple guys on this Matt Stoller's Substack. And I was just like, man, there's so much out there for people who are willing to get dirty for a couple. All you got to do is do it for a couple of years, 5 to 10 years. Learn how to frame a house, learn how to wire a house. Just learn, plumb. Yeah, just a million things you could do for 5 to 10 years. Yes, you're going to have to get dirty for a little bit. Hell's bells. I was in the light infantry. I washed dishes. I literally cleaned carpets where people leaving their crap, their underwear on the carpets. I had to go in the Anacostia, D.C., a little white boy going to Anacostia, D.C. to clean people's carpets where they all have their windows barred up because of all the crime down there. And there ain't no white people in Southeast D.C. back then. I don't know if there is anymore, but I have to take a van. I have to park because there's no parking. So you have to park like 3 or 4 blocks over, and you have to take your buffer and all the crap that you blew with it. But I did it. I worked at we used to give out cigarettes to redneck bars. We give up Marlboros to redneck bars in Manassas, Virginia, and Occoquan, and then we go to the urban bars, if you know what I'm saying, and give out Newports. And I was a white guy there going to these places, and I had my 2 people with me were 2 black ladies, young black ladies, and one was smoking hot. So here's a white guy, kind of, I'm not saying I'm in charge, but I'm a guy with a smoking hot black girl in these places. And, that's the stuff. You got to do it, man. You do what you got to do to get by. And next thing you know, you wake up, you got a skill set, you got some money saved up, hopefully you have no debt. And you're like, hey, I can do something else. But you're going to have to start with someplace. You got to get dirty. You got to get your hands dirty. You can't just get out of college and say, oh, because people are commenting like, I know some technical writers who can't find work. I said, there's tons of work. Well, they don't want to find work that, they have to be outside the cubicle. And I said, well, that sucks then. Sucks to be them, dude. You know what I'm saying? But there's tons of work. You're going to have to get dirty. Welcome to the world, man. And if you get dirty young, hopefully it means you don't have to get dirty later, like me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I'll do this. I don't know if I'll be able to do this the rest of my life. I don't know. But I did all my grunt work between my 20s and basically when I was 12, paper routes, all that stuff till I was about 30 or so. And then I moved into, more of a white collar profession. And now I'm in self-employed, sitting on my porch with my dogs right here, drinking a cup of decaf. I'm not saying it's going to work out like that for everybody, but my goodness, take some time to get your hands dirty a little bit, get out there, get in the elements. And man, there's so much opportunity. All right. Oh boy. Look at that guy. Finn. 1 second. We let him out. I think he hears. Oh, hey, what's going on? Oh, we got a guy who got outside. Finn, come here. Come here. Hey, loudmouth. Finn. Hey, look at this guy. Oh my goodness, look at him. Finn. Hey, big boy. Big boy. Look at his butt. Look at that butt. Finn. Oh my goodness. Finn is one muscular dog, man. All right, so Finn. Hey. We're just gonna let him bark for a little bit. All right, I want to so I also want to show you. Hey. Enough. Finn again. I can't hear myself think with that big old bark. So just remember, anyone's trying to break in, you're gonna look at that muscles. Look at that guy. And then you have this guy right here. What's up, Pablo? Finn, look at that guy. You want that guy wrapping those? Look at these muscles on his jaws. You want him wrapping those teeth around you? Come here. All right, this guy's almost done. All right, so let's. I want to show you guys something. Can y'all still hear me with Doggy back there? Can y'all still hear me? Oh yeah, Diana Ross, man. Whitney Houston. I'm trying to think, is there a more gorgeous lady than Whitney Houston? Being killed by the cutest. Ben! There it goes. I know I can't take it. Look at him. I don't know why that's so cute. Oh my god. Oh my god. Your dog going off? Oh, there they go. Thanks, Mom. Thanks for that. I'm just joking. I didn't mean Mom like you're older. I'm just saying Mom, because Mom always says, Josh, you're so great. She didn't, but I'm just saying. All right. So I want to show you guys something else too. I'm going to go to present. All right. So Jill and I have been emailing back and forth. Old Jill, we call her Indiana. And I don't know how people. I was sitting in an elevator the other day. This guy had a husky in there with him, and the husky was just like just so doggone cute with his sparkling eyes and stuff. And I said, "Can I pet him?" He goes, "Absolutely." And the husky was like looking up at me, and I was like, "How do you not like dogs, man?" I mean, that'd mean you have to own them, but they just make me so happy. It's funny. All right, I want to show you guys this. Yeah, right on. I know. I just goofing on you, Ned. All right. I want to go into this right here. All right. So this this is from 2019, 2020 weights. I want to go into this now because this is critical to understand CPI. So Jill and I were emailing back and forth. She made good points. I made good points. But I said, don't use CPI to measure your cost of living increases. And I'm going to show you why. That doesn't mean you don't have cost, as Jill attested to. I'm just saying, don't use CPI as it because it's freaking stupid. Now, we don't want CPIW. We want this one, CPIU. That covers 92% of the population. Some people use CPIE. I actually like that more because it's a little bit more geared towards health insurance. But I just want to show you. So we have 100% is our consumption, 100%. Of that, 14.259 is for food. So I literally just posted a video right before we started doing this. I was reading my man Ron. He spends about, he says he was surprised that groceries that he thought was going to be the highest are now only in third place in his total expenditures. He spends $53.19 on food. On 60, how much did he say? He spends about $68,000 a year. So he spent about 7% of his consumption is on food. And yet here we go. CPI says 14% of your consumption is on food. All right. So when the CPI happens, they say, okay, the average consumer, let's just say they have $100,000 of expenditures. $14,259 of those dollars, the average household that is, will go to food. If food rises by 100%, that means they'd be spending $28,000 for food. I hope that makes sense. You get that. So basically, you have $100,000 of income, the average household. 14,000 of spending, I should say, spending will go to food. All right, how much is yours? I don't know. I don't know how much mine is. I need to keep a better budget. And my man Ron in his email said he uses Quicken. I don't know how much I spend on food, but he said he was surprised how little they actually spent on food once he retired. On top of that, if we go down to food, we're going to go down. You can see they got bread is 0.19 of the 14.259% on food. Bread is 0.199. And then we go down to meat. Meat right here is 1.147. Bacon is only 0.163, which is, that's criminal. It should be more. Ice cream, that's like 100% of my food consumption. But I want to keep going down. So we got food. Oh, non-alcoholic beverages. All right. 1% on non-alcoholic beverages. Coffee. There you go. I drink a hell of a lot of coffee. Sugar, sweets, soups. Let's keep going. Alcoholic beverages. Now look at that. 1% roughly of CPI is from alcoholic beverages. Well, your old buddy Josh hasn't drank since May 25th, 1997. Now, Charlotte will drink 1 or 2 beers a year. That's it. But we certainly aren't spending 1% of our consumption on alcohol. Now, in the substitution effect theory, people say, yeah, you're not spending on alcohol, but you are spending it over, here, other beverages. I don't know that to be true. But anyway, you can see, so alcoholic beverages are 1% of total CPI. Huh? And then food away from home is 5.25%. How much are you eating out? So again, if you have $100,000, 14,000 of that is going to food right here, of which 8,000 is going to cooking at home, and 5,000 is going to eating away, right? Food away from home. So, I mean, what does that have to do with you? Well, until you figure out where your expenditure is going, why would you use CPI? All right, let's keep going down. This is the thing that just drives me up. This is what I'm talking to Jill about. This is what I'm basing my whole book on. You can see I got it. I'll share a little bit with you. 42% of your consumption, according to the BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics, is on housing. I'm just going to keep stressing this. 42%. So if we have $100,000 of expenditures, 14,000 is going to food, 42,000 is going to housing. 42,000, of which 33% is going to shelter. Shelter consists of rent of primary residence. What? Do you rent? No. So why would 7.4% of my CPI be geared towards rent? Do you lodge away from home? It's 1%. That's fine. Well, owner's equivalent rent of residence, huh? How much it would cost if you were to rent your comparable house? Well, I don't rent it. Yeah, no, but we still need to calculate how much it would cost if you did as part of CPI. But that doesn't make any sense because I don't rent it. I actually own it. Whether or not I have a mortgage is different, but I own it. So why would either this one right here, 24%, or that right there have anything to do with my CPI? Doesn't make sense. You know it doesn't make sense. Owner's equivalent rent of primary residence. Huh? Now, food and utilities, fuels and utilities, 5% of CPI goes to fuels and utilities. That makes sense. Water, sewage, and trash, that makes sense. Household furnishings, what? 5% of my consumption goes to household furnishings? Now, for us, it does, because we just did this. But, I mean, would that happen to you once you're retired in your retirement home? I highly suspect it won't. I mean, how many times are you going to pay for window and floor coverings? How many times are you going to pay for furniture and bedding? Appliances? I mean, okay, look at that. Appliances, 1/4 of 1%. All right, you can I don't care. You can throw that in there. Tools? I like tools just like the next guy. You know what I'm saying? I like Harbor Freight, Northern Tools, but does 1% of my expenditures go to tools? That doesn't seem like much, but a million here, a million there. Pretty soon we're talking real money. All right, so apparel, 2.5% of your total expenditures go on apparel. That's probably right. I like to change my t-shirts once every 5 years or so. Right? Let's keep going. But of that apparel, boys apparel. Well, hopefully when you're older, you're not buying boys apparel. Girls apparel. Hopefully when you're older, Annette there isn't buying girls apparel. Right? Just as an FYI. So here's the third big one, transportation. So we got household is number one, transportation is number two at 18%. What does transportation consist of? New and used vehicles. 17% for new of your total consumption goes on the purchase of a new used vehicle, a lease, or a car or truck rental. Huh? When's the last time you actually rented a car? When's the last time you bought a new vehicle or a new to you vehicle? So why would my CPI be $17,000 going towards this if I haven't bought a new or used vehicle? Doesn't make any sense. So of my $100,000 of consumption, right out the gate, $33,000 isn't going to what they say is going. Another $17,000 isn't going to what they say is going through transportation and shelter. That don't make any sense. So I'm already down inherently freaking 50%. So my CPI isn't what they're showing, is about 50% of that. Now we're going to keep going because I want to show you something else. This one right here, medical care. So this is only 8.5. All right. Now, if we talk to my man Ron here, he said he is spending glasses. He was on $68,000. He spent about $14,000 on everything. He says his Medicare for he and his better half is at $8,000 a year, but then total medical outlay jumps to the top when you add prescriptions, Medicare costs, co-pays, and deductibles, and obviously a supplement. If he's spending about $14,000, it's a little bit higher than what I'd say. I use about $500 to $550 a month per person, and that includes Part B, Part D, and a supplemental policy, some out-of-pockets, co-pays, whatnot. But it's still pretty close. So this right here is lower than what it would be for Big Ron. And I 100%. So if we're spending $100,000, we didn't want to increase this from 8.5 to about 13,000. All right. Keep going. Recreation, 5% recreation. All right. I got no qualm with that. I mean, here's your cable bills and all that. But let me show you something here. Education, 2.66 of my expenses is going to tuition, books, and other childcare. I'm retired, man. I'm not spending at 2.66. Anyway, so you can see how I'm going with here. Tobacco? What? 1/2 of 1% of CPI is going to tobacco? I gave up smoking many moons ago, man. Now, it's pretty interesting, is it not? So here you go. Rent of shelter, 32%. All right, I just find that interesting because, while you're flipping out about CPI, I think what you'd want to do, hey, my wife is liked me on Facebook. Instead of flipping out about CPI, what you got to do is find out what your expenses are, like my man Ron did. I literally just posted that video right before he got on here, and he said, this is what my expenses are. Food's third, housing second, medical costs are first. And then you go from there. And then when I was kind of doing the video, I said, okay, if he's spending about $68,000 a year, all right, he's got housing. Housing is $8,300. You probably can't see it. Housing is $8,300. We'll just say $8,000 for simplicity. Medical is $14,000, so that's $22,000 there, and food was $5,300. So that's about $28,000 or so, give or take. So of his $68,000, $28,000 is going to housing, medical, and food, the top three. That left him with $40,000. This is before tax, but taxes aren't going to be that high. Anyway, so we'll say for simplicity, he has $5,000 of taxes. So that left him about $25,000 that he can spend on other. He tithes. He likes to spend money on his church, to travel. So where else the rest of that money go? A little bit of apparel, 100%. The point being is, man, it's like, hey, so if you're spending, you used to spend this guy $92,000 a year. Now in retirement, he's spending $68,000 a year. I'm like, well, it doesn't take much to come up with that kind of money. Think about it. $3,000 Social Security for old Ron, half to his wife. That's $4,500. All right. So $3,000 plus $1,500 is $4,500. You times that by 12. That's $54,000. He spends $68,000. $54,000 is coming from Social Security. So that means he needs $14,000 from his portfolio. All right, so if we do $14,000 from our portfolio, you guys can't see what I'm doing here, but we take our calculator, and this is literally what I did in this video. I'm on it because I just 14,000 divided by 0.05 because you use a 5%. He needs a portfolio of $280,000. 14,000 divided by 0.05 because that's our 5% withdrawal rate. He needs $280,000 in his portfolio. That's it. And that's assuming those expenditures go up with inflation, which is silly, but give it as it may. That's it, man. Now I want to bring up Right Capital here too. Right, hold on just a second. I thought I had it loaded, but I did not. I let you guys down, man. Stacey Abrams for governor. She's my governor, Stacey Abrams. She won last time. No one said she was an election denier. No one said Hillary was an election denier, but Stacey Abrams and Hillary, those my governors and presidents. Weird. They said the election was fraud, but no one kicked them off of anything, and no one sent people to jail for that kind of stuff. Kind of weird. Stacey Abrams, governor. Such a freaking clown. I cannot wait till we don't have to hear about Stacey Abrams anymore. My wife was saying, oh, yeah, but she'll go in the Biden administration. I said, I'm not so sure about that. They already got Keisha Bottoms, Keisha Lance Bottoms, our old mayor. She already failed upwards. So she's no longer in Atlanta as a mayor, destroying the city. She's now working for the Biden administration. I'm not sure they'd have another Georgia loser to go there. I don't think she would. So anyway, we're going to go to Sample, Ann and Dan Sample. Keisha Lance Bottoms, that's what it is. Keisha Lance Bottoms. All right. And what we're going to do, amigos, if I can find, here we go. Yeah, sweet. All right. Yeah, right. And, before Al went on his low carb diet, I assume, they would both eat you, literally eat you. That's how hungry they are. They would eat you. Row, 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 row. Both clowns. Al Sharpton, evil, evil man. I got 3 words, man. No, 2 words. I can round this up in 2 words. Made in America. There's a 3-letter word me and Barack will talk about. Jobs. Jobs. That's what freaking Sniffy Joe said back in the 2012. Jobs. A 3-letter word. A 3-letter word. I got 2 words. That's it. Made in America. Did you see Sniffy Joe when he he was he walked to the trees on the White House lawn, and the White House is over there, and like they had to say no over that way, Joe. And he's like, oh, yeah. I'm like, dude, Jill Biden needs to go to jail for elderly abuse. I mean, it's just sickening. You see this poor man, like, and he's an evil SOB. I get it. But you still hate to see this guy being abused. I mean, he's walking into the wood line on the White House, what do they call it? The Rose Lawn, Rose Garden, whatever it's called. And the White House is over there, dude. And it's like someone said, you'd think Joe Biden would be around long enough to know where the White House is because it's the big building over there. It was so funny. I'm just like, I can't believe this. All right. So what we're going to do with Ann and Dan Sample, these are fake people, FYI. We're going to create something for them here. We're going to go to profile. Can't make friends with salad. You can't make friends with salad. You can't make friends with salad. You can't make friends with salad. All right, we're going to go over here. We want them to be 67. So we're going to make 5. There we go. And we're going to make 1955. There we go. All right. And we're going to give them income off of Social Security. We're going to delete that, 0 this out. All right. We're going to do this, and then we're going to give them, and it's going to get Social Security at $3,000 a month, right? And old Dan is going to get a spousal benefit because the future is women. The future is female, guys. The future is female. So we're going to give old Dan a spousal benefit at 1,500 schmackers. All right. And then we're going to give them a net worth of 280,000 schmackers. We'll just say that'll be, we'll say about 3,750 or so. And we're going to say they need goals. We're going to say they need $5,500 a month, and that will include everything. We're not going to have any healthcare cost because it's already part of that $5,500. What about healthcare? It's part of the $5,500. So hold on just a second. How do I get rid of customized? All right, there we go. What about healthcare? It's part of their $5,500 a month. All right, that should cover us here. So we're going to say, we're just real quick. I just want to make sure I got, they're in the Wellington Fund, giving them 5.2% a year rate of return. All right, so let's go to retirement. And let's see what we got, shall we? Oh my goodness. They only have $253,000. There's no way they can retire. Oh my goodness. And yet they have a 95% probability. How could that possibly be? I'm lying to them. Because we're going to, oh, wow. That thing says tax. Whoa. Wow. Look at that. $3,000 of taxes on $1,400 of total income. Wow. How could that be? I'm lying. We're going to show you how that could be. $54,000. Oh, wait. Let me go to 2024. Hold on a second. Let me go here. I want to have it where we're taking money out of the IRA. There we go. Actually, here we go. All right. So here's $62,000. Hold on, Jeff. Let me just make sure I got it right. I want to go back to profile. I want to make sure it's an IRA, not a taxable account. Oh, it says IRA. There we go. Let's get rid of this cash. All right, good. All right. Hold on just a second, amigos. Look at that. That $55,000 in cash, that's it, dropping from 90% or whatever it was to 81%. Still fine. They're not running out of money. Let me just, I just want to make sure we got their expenses correct. About $66,000. Yeah, expenses right there. Look at that. I actually got them spending $76,000 a year. So check this out. So let me show you some on right cap. It's pretty cool. I think a lot of people don't get this. Net flows. The parentheses means that's how much they have to pull from their portfolio because they got 55,000 coming in, but they got 76,000 going out the door. That seems higher than I want. Oh, housing. All right. No, we'll go with it. Okay. So I was using everything all inclusive in here, but that's okay. We'll even say it's more. Doesn't matter. Anyway, so look at that. So they have 55,000 coming in, or 54,000 in 2023. And where's that income coming from? Social Security. 3,000 for old Ann, $1,500 a month for old Dan, 54,000 schmackers. All right, 54,000 from Social Security. They got 74,000 going out the door, so they need 20,500 from someplace. Well, it's going to come from their portfolio. We go to accounts, and we're going to go net cash flows. Yeah, they're going to pull it from their IRA. I think I had Dan as the IRA. Even though the future is female, so we got to make Ann the IRA owner. But anyway, they're pulling $20,595 from their IRA. So what's their total income? Well, it doesn't take a rocket science, man. Even I can do this in my head. 54,000 plus 20,000. That's $74,595 is their income. Then we go to tax. Oh no, they're going to pay huge amounts of tax. It's going to be a 25% tax rate, Josh. No. $20,000 flowed from their 1099 that they had on their IRA distribution, flowed to line 4B on their IRA, on their 1040, plus their Social Security, $54,000 of Social Security, of which only $9,000 is subject to taxation because of provisional income rules, which I need to do another video on. It's been a while. I'm going down. I'm getting the whiteboard. I'm bringing back the whiteboard. I'm bringing it back. If Denise is on there, I think Jill too. They love the whiteboard. I'm bringing it back. Anyway, so $20,000 of IRA distributions, $54,000 of Social Security. Their total income is $74,595. Of that total income from Social Security, only $9,000 is subject to taxation. Thus, $20,594, $595 by IRA distribution is fully taxable. $9,000 of Social Security. Their AGI, amigos, $29,651. So on $74,000 of income, their adjusted gross income is only $29,651. Standard deduction, $28,000. So their taxable income, $951. 75 roughly $1,000 of income, $950 of taxable income. They pay $95 in tax on freaking $75,000 of income. This ain't Sweden. Look at that. That's a freaking 0.3% effective tax rate. Look at that. Now, should they do Roth conversions? No. Craig, why would you do Roth conversions? I mean, look at that. They're in a federal income tax bracket of 10%. They're only paying an effective tax rate of less than 1%. Why would you do any Roth conversions? That's the widow's tax trap. It's still no big deal. Don't do Roth conversions here. The only time you do Roth conversions, if this is over here, if the higher tax rates are over here, and the lower tax rates are there. If the higher tax rates are significant, scratch what I just said there. Only time you do Roth conversions is if you have significant low taxes here and significant up taxes here. That's what I meant to say. Makes no sense. Why would you do Roth conversions if I'm only paying 0.7% now and my effective tax rate, my marginal income tax is 10%? Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, I hope that makes sense. I tell you, man, know the tax code, amigos. Freaking tax. Hey, Emerald Owls, Davis Elliott's on. Hey, Harry's on Facebook. Right on. Hey, Harry, what are you doing on Facebook? Emerald's Davis Elliott on Facebook. All right, cool. I'm not sure who that is, but right on. Cool. I'd love to have you here. Anyway, and Annette likes the whiteboard too. Yeah, right on. The point being is, you can Social Security. I said it, but Social Security's bankrupt, Josh. Okay. Yeah, look at Jill. She loves whiteboard. Yes. Denise loves whiteboard. All the ladies love the whiteboard. It's funny. Who's got penguin? Hey, Kevin. My housing, paid off house about 25% of my annual spend. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what Jill said. So she actually did the work and figured out what her inflation was. It's 10 to 15% more this year than it was previous year. And the reason was because she took the time to figure it out. And I'm not arguing with that. That'd be stupid. I'm not going to sit there and say, Jill, you're wrong. She knows. I'm just saying when we use CPI as a way to plan for retirement, don't do that to yourself. It doesn't make any sense because the facts are housing and transportation won't be 50% of your total spend. It just won't. All right, let me show you something else here. Yeah, right on. Well, who's really doing the painting, Angie? Angie said, just had a roof put on. Now my husband and I are painting the outside of the house. Yeah. Who's really doing the painting? The future is female until it comes to painting the house. Just totally give you a hard time. Charlotte does all the painting around here. One time this guy and I were doing seminars in New York City, and Charlotte was so let's see, we were living in Texas and we're trying to get the house on the market because we're going to move to New Jersey of all places. Anyway, so that was in 2011 or 10. 2000, maybe 2011. So she had two young boys, Liam and Kevin were 2 and 3 between them. Maddie was 11 and Chloe was 6 or 7. And anyway, so we're trying to get the dining room because I love the color. She had painted like this freaking bright. It was an awesome yellow. It wasn't like a bright yellow, but just I loved it. I still that was the best house we ever lived in. We had this yellow limestone, facade or whatever they call it. It just looked great. And then the inside is just a Spanish tile, and then it had just yellow for a formal dining room. I loved it, dude. Anyway, so I called her. So this guy Rich and I were in some fancy schmancy steakhouse in Manhattan after we got done doing our presentation. And I called Charlotte. And I said, "Yeah, I'm just hanging out here in Manhattan, eating this awesome steak, And it was about probably 9:30. And I go, "What are you doing?" She goes, "Yeah, I'm just I just got done changing a poopy diaper that happened to get splattered everywhere, and now I'm going back to painting the room. So I hope you're having fun." I said, "Ooh, probably should not have told her that." Anyway, to this day she has a list. So basically, she had two boys with stinking poopy diapers that one got splattered everywhere in the bathroom. All the while, she was trying to paint the neutral color, the master dining room, and I'm sitting there in the steakhouse, a fancy schmancy steakhouse in Manhattan. Oh man, she was not happy with me, man. Oof, she was not happy. So I said, "Oof, sorry." But the wife of a homemaker, easy life, man. They're eating bonbons, watching Oprah all day long. That's all they do. Yeah, it just cracks me. I'll never live that down. Never live that down. That's for sure. Yeah, right on, Jill. So to assume flat inflation, 100%. It's insane. It's evil because it encourages people to keep working in a crap old job where they have to get this or they have to, you know, pay heed to CRT and the woke mafia and stuff. It's just sad, dude. All right, so I want to go into I want to share with you a little bit of the book I'm working on here. If I could, what did I do with it? Hold on a second. Oh, I don't have it up. Huh. Thought I had it up. All right. Hold on just a second, because I thought this was actually kind of interesting in the chapter I was working on just yesterday. I try working on it. I try to work on it every day, for an hour or so. You didn't get to it this morning, but I try to. I do try to get to it. All right, so I can open this guy up if that's okay with Google Docs. All right, there we go. So let's bring you up to speed here. What's up, Florida? That's right. Play the same blackboard. Exactly. All right. So Net wants to discuss reverse mortgage. Net? What's your What do you want me to discuss? Anything pertinent? All right. So I want to kind of go back to. Um, let's let that go up here a little bit. All right. Lots of charts, lots of graphs, lots of tables. Um, hold on just a second. Oh, just can you? Yeah. All right. Sweet. I don't think I've shared this before. So CPI in the 1930s, food was 34% of total expenditures. Clothing was 10%. Interesting. Clothing's gone down significantly since then. Rent? What? Another 18%. Okay. What if you weren't renting? I mean, huh? Well, a lot of people were renting back then. Fuel, electricity, and then miscellaneous, including medical care and recreation. So again, well, 3% is inflation is average since basically the Federal Reserve. Well, yeah, but I mean, does that make any sense? Then we go into translated the current right here, 35%, 33% housing. So again, food again is 35% if we use the 1930s in current inflation. If we were to look at that in currently, well, no one's spending a third of their income on food unless you're got no income. Isn't that pretty interesting? Apparel still 11%. That doesn't make any sense. The point being is that we're all looking at these inflation numbers historically. Say a 3% inflation is just lazy. All right, let's keep going. Then hold on just a second. Yeah, right here. Okay. So here's a 2020. We just went over this, but I wanted to. So here's the expenditures, and this goes back to BLS. So the Consumer Expenditure Survey is where they get the CPI based on, and they say, hey, the average household right here, and this is in 2014. It's the same thing, but anyway, I just posted that as a holding pattern. They spent $53,000 in 2014. The average household, 12.6 went to food, 33% went to housing, 3.3 went to clothing, transportation was 17%, healthcare was 8%. Entertainment was 5. Right here, another one: pensions and Social Security. Well, that's your contributions to your retirement plans, so including your Social Security tax. 10%. Well, if you're over 70 years old, so this is over 75, only 2% went to that. So that doesn't make any sense. Why would you use 10% for that? Now, healthcare, on the other hand, for all households is 8%. For the households over 75 is 15%, just like we just talked about my man Ron. So you see how everything is subjective to you specifically. We talked about that right there. Hold on just a sec. Oh, so anyway, and CPI, I just want to point out here, the objective of the CPI is to measure the change in expenditures required to maintain a standard of living. All right. The objective of CPI is the change in expenditures required to maintain your current or a given standard of living, your current standard. For expenditures on houses, this leads to a measurement objective that focuses on the shelter services provided by a house over a period of time. A house is a capital asset. That's what I'm saying, not a cash flow. I said this on a video I did the other day. Your house, your car are big ticket items. They're cash flow items that should go on the income statement. Debts, you're basically cash out via debts versus income in. It should not go on the balance sheet relative to CPI. It doesn't make sense. A house is a capital asset that provides a flow of services over a substantial period of time, not a one-time consumption item. That's not true. They are a one-time consumption item when it comes to CPI. You buy it now either with a loan or with cash money. If you do it alone, the CPI does not change on the loan. If you do it with cash money, there is no CPI because you own the house other than property taxes. And fuel and utilities are a different section of CPI. The whole thing's stupid. Anyway, check this out. The BLS explored two major approaches to determine how to estimate the cost of shelter services for owner-occupied dwellings. The first approach attempts to estimate the flow of shelter services for an owned dwelling from items related to living in it. It's called user costs and includes items such as real estate taxes. Makes sense. Insurance. Makes sense. An interest estimate based on the market value of the house. Well, interest estimate based on your mortgage is what makes sense. But they didn't use that when they changed the CPI. They went to the second approach, which attempts to estimate the flow of services for an owner dwelling based on market rents for rented dwellings. The research led to a method referred to rental equivalence. This method measures the ratio of change in the amount an owner would need to pay in order to rent on the open market. But I'm not renting my friggin' house. It is based on the actual market rents collected from a sample of renter-occupied housing units that are identified to be representative of owner-occupied house. And then for some, I said this in my book, and again, I'm still working on the rough draft. The first approach attempts to estimate the flow of shelter services, user cost, as real estate taxes, insurance, whatnot, to what we just talked about. The measure rates to change the amount an owner would need to pay in order to rent on the open market. Crazy. Doesn't make any sense. All right, so I want to kind of go into something real quick. I think I have. We'll get. Again, I talk about the cash flow versus the balance sheet. Pension. Then again, we talk about education. 2.6% of education of your total. 2.6% of total CPI is going to education supplies and books. Stupid. All right, but I want to go down here a little bit here. Shadow stats. Everyone says shadow stats as inflation. Blah blah blah. They say we underestimate inflation because they say CPI has moved to the concept of CPI moving away from a measure of the cost of living needed to maintain a constant standard of living. All right. They say the concept of CPI has moved away from being a measure of the cost of living needed to maintain a constant standard of living. But yet we just read that's what CPI says. Huh? They say inflation has averaged 10% for the last 20 years, and inflation was higher in the last 20 years than it was in the previous 20 years. So literally, shadow stats would say from the mid 90s, from the basically the 80s and 90s, inflation was higher. It was lower in the 80s and 90s than it was in the aughts and teens. That doesn't make any sense. They say inflation has averaged 10% a year over the last 20 years, which is more than it was in the 80s and 90s. And they say CPI has moved away from being a measure of the cost of living needed to maintain a constant standard of living. That's literally what CPI is. I just read it to you. Changes estimated by the BLS from Shadow Stats show roughly a 4% understatement in current CPI versus what would have been reported during the original methodology. Adding the roughly 3% loss in geometric weighting, most of which does not include the BLS estimates, takes the current CPI to roughly 7%. Traditional inflation rates can be estimated by adding 7% to the actual CPI, which in 2006 would give us 10.8%, and they've just gone on ever since. So this is the beginning of how they measure CPI. How can so many financial pundits live without consuming food or energy? I think this is also from Shadows. Yeah, and I actually don't disagree with this. The Pollyannas on Wall Street like to play games with CPI too. The concept of looking at the core rate of inflation net of food and energy, I completely agree with Shadow Stats on this, was developed as a way of removing the volatile short-term volatility from inflation by energy and food. Since food and energy account for 23% of consumer spending, however, related inflation cannot be ignored for long. Nonetheless, it's common to hear financial pundits talk about core inflation as a way of showing how contained inflation is. I absolutely completely agree. That's stupid. Food and energy are the biggest sources of your inflation, 100%, as Jill can attest to, because she looked at her own. She goes, man, food is up crazy. Energy is up crazy too. So when they say we're only focused on food and energy as opposed to volatile inflation, well, the volatile is part of the housing cost. I mean, that's stupid. The whole thing's just freaking dumb, man. Such comments are moronic, and such commentators are due the appropriate respect. I completely agree with Shadow Stats there. In theory, the CPI, again from Shadow Stats, in theory, the CPI measures housing costs, or this from BLS. Those Shadow Stats. In theory, the CPI measures housing costs, but has not done so adequately since the early 80s. And I actually completely agree with Shadow Stats. I agree with them 100%, but they're getting a conclusion where inflation is much higher, and I'm getting a conclusion where inflation is much lower. I'm going to show you. When housing cost measurements were switched to owner's equivalent rent, what the government estimates you would pay yourself to rent your own home from home sales prices. The Shadow Stats as a corrector for that change. But I don't, this is nuts to me because I'm going to show. I've showed you guys this a million times. I'm just going to keep showing it because I don't get how Shadow Stats can be so right and so wrong at the same time. It's crazy to me. All right. Historical relative importance. All right. So, this is, all right. So 1982, old CPIU, new CPIU. We don't care about CPIW, just care about CPIU. All right. So we're going to go down to the housing. So remember, this right here is their weighting, new CPI, old CPI. All right, so let's go down to housing. All right, housing, 37% on new CPI is 45% on old. All right, and the new CPI, shelter, again, we talked about that. Renters cost, 6.4%. Owner equivalent rent, roughly 13.5%. So that's where you get your 21%. That doesn't make any sense because I'm not paying rent. I'm not paying rent to myself. Stupid. And the old one, we would use this home ownership, 25%, which include home purchase, 10%. Financing, taxes, and insurance. Well, financing, I don't need that because I own my house, or you own your house, or you have a mortgage that's already included in there. You can look at the mortgage interest rate for sure, but there's no inflation on mortgage interest rates because you have locked in loan. I mean, if you have an ARM, I suppose that changes every year, but no one does. I mean, very few people. But look, we already got insurance here. We already got property taxes in here. So we can get rid of this right here. We can get rid of that right there. So the only thing we would want to do is about 2.1% of their 31%. I mean, of the 31%. And Shadow Stats sees the same thing. The old and new, and that they get where it's much higher. It's the weirdest thing. It's weird to me how they got it so wrong. Yeah, I saw that, Andrew. I want Cuomo in prison for killing all those innocent people from nursing homes. I'm still not convinced of it. I'm still not, I don't want to say too much. I'm still not convinced the virus existed. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced. I'm they have germ versus terrain theory. And I'm not convinced they can isolate the virus. And that's why I'm not scared at all about what happened in Boston University. I'm just not. We isolated the virus and we killed 80% of the mice. Yeah, I'm not so sure I fall for that. I'm agnostic on whether or not it exists. And that's a question I have for the terrain theory people. I say, well, if viruses don't exist, and how come with Ignaz Semmelweis, when he was basically telling the people in Vienna, the delivery hospitals, to wash their hands so they didn't transfer basically bacteria that was sick, essentially, bad bacteria to other women who were about to give birth, and wash their hands, freed them from that bad bacteria, thus it freed them from dying. So what caused that if viruses or germ theory didn't exist, terrain theory? So it's one of those things. I lean to viruses, not gonna lie to you, but I'm open to the idea. But you see it with your own eyes. Say, okay, Ignaz Semmelweis saved a lot of people by telling people, because of the power, the science at that point. They don't like midwives, and yet I read a book on this woman in Maine who was midwife, and she had less deaths in delivering babies than the biggest docs in the world. That does not say docs are bad. I don't say that at all. I'm just saying the idea that docs have all the answers and midwives or people practicing more natural solutions are witch doctors is nuts. I don't think that. But also I don't think that these people practicing more natural solutions have all the answers either. I think it's stupid to say that guy is bad and that guy is good. I think there's something to be said on both sides. Anyway, the point being was, midwives who delivered without the help of medical professionals, through educational system. This lady in Maine, she wrote a diary of it, and she said, "Yeah, I mean, look, she could be self-aggrandizing, I suppose, but she said at the end of the day, you can see her numbers, and she delivered more healthier babies than the doctors did. It's just a fact. This is in the late 1700s and early 1800s in Maine." And she wasn't against the medical establishment either, by the way. She did not. She had a good relationship with doctors. So for more issues on childbirth, she would call the doctor in. That might be the reason why the doctors had less of a success than she did. I don't know. But anyway, so then you go fast forward into Vienna, into Austria, and these things, and you're seeing these pregnancy places, where they're having babies, and the doctors of the day, they thought they had all the answers, and they did not. And so what they would do is they'd take a baby from a non-healthy mom, and they would not wash their hands, and they just go to this other mom, and they just basically stick their hands in, and of course infect the woman and have dead babies. And a lot of women would die in childbirth because they infected the woman from another non-healthy baby. As such, what is causing that? And if there's no such thing as germs, germs exist, but if germ theory is incorrect and terrain theory is, and how do you explain? And I don't know the answer to that. Actually, I don't. With that said, if you can't isolate the viruses, how do you explain the fact there are viruses? I don't know. I think it's interesting. And I think only people who are, got sticks so far up their butts would say there's no validity here. We've all solved this. And that's what science is always not. Real science doesn't ever say that. It's idiots who say, I just want it simple. I want it clean. I don't want to think about this. I want to be told by the white lab coats, the Faucis of the world, the Francis Collins of the world with his human genome. He's so smart. He would never steer me awry. And he's a Christian. He did. Francis Collins can kiss my big fat behind because he used Christianity and he used the human genome to get street cred and say, I'm just going to follow what Francis Collins said. Francis Collins is even more evil than Fauci, by the way. Francis Collins. I'm telling you, man, he was put in there because I'm telling you, you go back and when Obama was, so he was put in there by George W. Bush as a devout Christian, and you go back when Obama got elected, they wanted Francis Collins out of there because he was devout. They said, "Oh my goodness, he's an evolutionist. He's not a young Earth creationist." Francis Collins, he did everything except he believed in the divine. Everything you would want from science, the science, not science, but the science, Francis Collins did, except he believed in the divine. And they wanted him out of there. I'm telling you, man, he was put in there at NIH to get idiots like John Piper and Rick Warren and all these clowns to fall like, well, Francis Collins, he's on our side. He's saying we should do this. John Piper, I cannot believe I supported that ministry. I'm so freaking pissed at that guy. And I never support Rick Warren. I never liked Rick Warren. There's another guy too, John Piper, Rick Warren. Oh, freaking the guy up in New York City, Tim Keller. These guys, it's just bad. John Piper is a sick mofo. I don't know if y'all familiar with John Piper, but man, I used to. We all make mistakes. When you make a mistake, apologize and say, "Man, I was wrong. I fell for I took a bite of what Satan was feeding me through Francis Collins." There's no look. Fauci's a clown. Everybody should have known Fauci's a clown. If you know any history of the AIDS craze, you know Fauci's a clown. It's just like Neil Ferguson, the Imperial College of London. If anyone would to just take a second to see what is Fauci's win-loss record, you would have said, well, he's lost a hell of a lot more times than he won. So I'm not going to trust that guy. Neil Ferguson over the Imperial College of London, which shut down UK, which made us come shut down. His win-loss rate, he's never won. He's like the New Orleans Saints, for the Aints, the Tampa Buccaneers in the 1976 and 77. He never won. He's always lost. It just takes a second. You don't need to be a freaking fancy physicist or some epidemiologist or virologist to know this. You just have to freaking use your head. So you're saying, dude, come on. Oh, God. Oh, I can't take it. Look at this. I don't want to get in a debate on vaccines because I'll lose. By all means, get boosted, man. By all means. By all means. You should get boosted 5 times. Oops, run low. Anyway, the point being is Francis Collins are what made people like John Piper, Timothy Keller, Rick Warren, and other fools, probably the Catholic Church, say, oh, yeah, no, everybody go out there because, they're telling us that's science. How many people, how much damage these clowns cause? All because Francis Collins was put in there by George Bush, who is part of the big cabal. I mean, come on. Preston Bush, come on. Traded with the Nazis. This isn't rocket science. Everybody knows this. The sad thing is he was trading with the Nazis while his son, George H.W. Bush, was a fighter pilot and freaking, was risk his life to fight the Nazis, the same Nazis that Preston Bush is. The whole thing's crazy. The only thing, Corona, I want to talk about is the bending of light. The bending of light. Because Einstein says the light bends because of gravitational force. And yet my man, Dr. Dowdy, says, no, light doesn't bend around mass. It bends around the corona of the sun, but that's it. Interesting. All right. I can't remember where we got off that thing. Yeah, whatever up, Tom Nager. Good question, Denise. Maryland. Yeah. Right on, man. 4 fantastic midwife home births. Right on, Linda. Look at her. That's crushing. My man Ed says 22 tithing, savings, housing. Yeah, right on. Insurance and tax and gas. And for a bald white guy, I got to go inside because I'm running out of juice here. And we'll continue on. Oh, Bob. You're a good boy. People want to believe in the Maxine Waters. You gotta if people still want to believe in that, I just gotta laugh at them. It's okay. You can do what you want to do. It's nuts, but I got no tolerance for that. At this stage, if people are still believing in that, I just not the best of the brightest they're sending to us, that's for sure. And they'll always say, well, if we didn't do something, right now they're filling up. Suppose I don't even trust any of these guys. The kids in the NICUs now because of all these kids with their viruses, supposedly. Again, so Jill says she thinks they exist. I don't know that. It'll be interesting. I'm very much looking forward to, after I read my Einstein book, finishing up this book, Beauchamp versus Pasteur. We'll see. And then we got my man Tom Cowan, Vaccines, Autoimmunity, and the Changing Nature of Childhood Illness. Now, he is a guy who does not believe in viruses. All right. He's a guy. And so Beauchamp also, too. So I'm reading it from that perspective to see if I can be convinced. It'll be interesting to see. Now, if you follow Dr. Sam Bailey on YouTube and her husband Mark and Andrew Kaufman, Dr. Kaufman, they don't believe in viruses either. They believe in the train theory. So you got Sam Bailey, her husband Mark, Andrew Kaufman, and then Dr. Tom Cowan, and there's many others who believe in train over germs. And that doesn't mean there's no germs. It just means they think it's the train. I'm not sure. It's interesting. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm saying? I'm looking forward to reading this. We'll see. We'll see what comes out of it. It's fun. But how dare you challenge Einstein? This guy said on my YouTube channel, it's like, you don't believe in science. I said, oh, okay, interesting. I don't believe in science. Huh. Tesla. Steinmetz. I just read it from my Einstein book is the lady who's an Einstein fanboy said it wasn't relativity that caused the radical revolution of physics. It was the quantum theory. It wasn't relativity. It was quantum theory. And then we're talking about photons and the whole thing. It's just like, oh, okay, interesting. But I don't believe in science because how dare I challenge the established and people smarter than you? I said, yeah, I would hope Einstein's smarter than me, for heaven's sake, dude. I barely graduated high school. That's why I had to go in the light infantry. I mean, my goodness, look at my academic record. I failed calculus twice before I passed. I'm not that bright. I could say I literally did fail calculus twice when I was in college. I had one class to take to graduate is calculus. And I was making bank working in my bar, dude. And so I had some ungodly reason I took calculus at a 7:30 a.m. class. I get home from work probably 4 o'clock in the morning. Half the time I was freaking, 5 sheets to the wind. I'd sleep for an hour and a half, and I'd go into class. And sometimes I just couldn't get up. And you fall behind in those classes, you're doomed. And it's like, oh, anyway. So I failed once. For some reason, I said this time I'll do it. I failed twice. I was like, oh, I just got to pass this class to graduate. And that's when I finally quit. I finally quit drinking. I finally quit the bar, and I finally just said, "All right, let's go." And I got an A. I mean, I should have gotten an A because I took it 3 times. Actually, it's funny because Chloe just said she signed up for classes next year. She goes, "Man, I really miss calculus." I said, "Oh man, like because she's taking economics classes. Whoa, you miss like you're behind?" She goes, "No, I liked it." So, great. Well, take it then, sister. You know what I'm saying? Chloe's going to, as a philosophy major or double major in philosophy and economics. I said, I think that's fantastic. I think philosophy is a great major. There's no jobs, dude. If you can fog a mirror and don't have, freaking cocaine run through your veins or heroin, you're fine, man. Fine. I mean, people are desperate. But so, yeah, you probably do. It can't hurt. And she likes economics too. I said, economics is philosophy until they change it with a math. Freaking Paul Samuelson. Same thing they did in physics. I mean, again, I'm just reading physics is about 40 years ahead of economics, where they had the math envy and mathematics took over. And then, you had to be a mathematic, genius in your own eyes. To be a physicist. And the same thing with economics. Literally the same thing happened in the 1950s. They saw how physicists were all the cat's meow. An economist says, "Oh, the command control economy, Keynesian, We want to be in charge, and we have to have all these fancy graphs and plots and stuff. Stupid. It's really annoying. And people fall for that. Like this guy, they'll fall, like whoever that guy was. They'll fall for it all the time, man. They'll say, "Oh no, they got math. Oh, math. Yeah, math proves it all. Oh yeah, math proves dark matter. I mean, because math shows that dark matter exists. We've never seen it, can never measure it, can't touch it, can't prove it exists, but our math shows it exists. So it must exist, right? It's crazy. And that's not to say mathematics is bad. It's just what these people take. They say X plus Y equals Z. Thus, these things must happen based on math. Dark matter, dark energy, photons. They don't exist that you can prove, but our math proves it. But you don't, there's no proof other than your equation, which you created. Oh, Harry. Oh my God. Oh, man, I fell for it. Oh my goodness. Tom got promoted to lieutenant colonel. Holy crap, man. That is funny. Yeah, no, that's the thing, Jill. They my biggest question is how do you explain Enoch Semmelweis? I don't know. I need to know that. I need to know that. How do you explain Enoch Semmelweis? What about global warming, rising average temperatures, and uh, if it seems like you want to question, so what? Would you guys stop saying science and equating that with people who have degrees? Science is everywhere and anything. You guys are saying seems like you want to question the science, as you want to say. Capitalize the T and the S, the science. God almighty, freaking dude. You're educated wanderer, and you just take on faith, the science. How can you possibly do that? Do you happen to know how much sea levels are rising? Do you want to take a guess? How much are sea levels rising? Do you happen to know the history of the predictions of this? Global warming is caused by what? Do you know how silly you are by believing this just because they're thus not science, the science? Do you happen to know Michael Mann? Do you happen to know Tim Ball? R.I.P. Tim Ball. Do you happen to know these people? I bet you don't. I mean, look at the absurdity of this, my friend. This is what we're dealing with. Rising average temperatures. Oh, from when? When? When were the temperatures rising? From 1979. Oh, how convenient. They certainly weren't rising from 1930s, dude. The world was significantly hotter in the 1930s than it is now. Why do you think the global warming Nazis had to email each other, say, hide the decline? Dude, you think you're a freaking smart guy because you fall for this stuff. You're falling for it. Wake the hell up and look around. Look around. This pisses me off. The global warming stuff is the biggest crock of crap there is. It pisses me off because there is absolutely fraud through and through that. Hide the decline. Phil Jones, the East Anglia Climate Research Unit. Hide the decline. They didn't say that because global warming was freaking happening every single year, almost like a linear rate. No, we have pauses of immense proportions that keep happening. They can't be explained by increasing parts per million of CO2. It's insane. And you're insane if you follow this stuff. You're insane. You need to get out of your box and look around and say, no, 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 no. I'm not going to fall for a lie. Michael Mann sued for defamation Tim Ball in Canada. Tim Ball says in front of a judge, I just want to see his numbers. And the judge said, I should say, let me see your data and we'll let the proceedings continue. Michael Mann said, I'm not going to show my data. It's proprietary. And the judge says, well, Tim Ball said your data was wrong. You're suing for defamation, but we can't see your data. Why won't you show your data? Once and for all, validate it, brother. And Michael Mann said, I'm not going to show my data. Judge ruled in favor of Tim Ball. Michael Mann had to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars. Tim Ball just died. without getting a penny from Michael Mann. Michael Mann ain't going to pay crap because the lawsuit was in Canada and Michael Mann is a resident in the United States. Michael Mann, who flies to Australia to give talks on the evils of CO2. How the hell did he get to Australia? You don't do it with a battery-propelled freaking EV, that's for damn sure. How much CO2 is being spewed by his stupid flight to Australia? It's more, his flight back and forth to Australia is more than what I consume with a family of 6 in a big freaking house in 6 months' time in terms of kilowatt hours. His one flight to Australia, just him on there. You factor all the other people on there, it's worse. Oh, don't believe me? Now you poke the bear on this. We're gonna show because freaking where is it? Where's my book on this? Freaking, because I cannot stand ignoramuses. I can't stand them. I like that he's here because it just shows ignoramus. You don't fall for these. I don't know where the hell's the book, man. All right, so I don't have it there, but we'll. That's okay. That's okay. We're gonna find it because ignorant people are what led us to the last 2 years. People believe science. That's what they say. It's the science. It's not science. Freaking. Oh gosh. Hold on a second. Let me find. Hey, you got it. Cav. Hey, you want to let Pablo out of there? Thanks, buddy. Hold on a second. Let me close the door. My boys are home. They'll take the PSATs. If I can find this thing here. Hold on just a second. Here comes Bob's going to come in here. I just still find it funny. We had the medieval warm period, the Little Ice Age, all before we were burning fossil fuels. But no one wants to talk about that. No, you don't bark like that with me right here, dog man. Right here. Oh yeah, this is great. This is great. I love this one. Look, the vax people are nuts, but the climate change people are insane. Don't listen to these people. I mean, listen if you want, but you got to fight back with me because these people are what led it to us Build Back Better, the Green New Deal, where people in Maine are going to freeze to death because they don't want to put pipelines for fracking. They don't want to put pipelines through New York because Cuomo is too busy killing elderly people. I'm gonna have to get rid of this YouTube channel of this stream when we're done here because I know YouTube's like, rising sea levels. I guarantee educated wanderer has no clue the sea level rise. I guarantee he's got no idea. None. The level of just stupidity is insane on this. I'm mad because this is stuff that led us here. It's these fools who fall for all this crap. Nuts. All right, so we're going to fly from JFK. We're going to go to Australia with Michael Mann. He's flying out because I just saw he was doing a presentation. I was watching this video the other day. I said, man, this guy's such a clown. This is only 2017. All right, let's go to 2017. The round trip flight from New York to Sydney is 20,000 miles, which produces 6.6 tons of CO2 equivalent emissions for each passenger. Each passenger, 6.6 tons of CO2. In 2017, 128 countries in the world would have lower annual per capita emissions than this flight. Did you hear that? In 2017, that one flight would have less, 65% of the world's population would spew less CO2 for the year than that one flight. You can't be green and fly. And yet Michael Mann and his little band of freaking fools will do that. On top of that, Michael Mann, his little band of merry men, said Judith Curry whored herself for big oil's money. Like literally whore, like slept with big oil people to get money because she challenged the idea that rising temperatures in the ocean caused more hurricanes because she goes, there aren't rising temperatures in the ocean. Judith Curry, Georgia Tech, wrote the book on thermodynamics. Yes, that's what she said. There are no rising temperatures in the ocean. That's not creating more hurricanes. In fact, there are less hurricanes. And there are less hurricanes. It's idiotic to say otherwise. People say that, but they're stupid. It's literally just dumb. I would say they're ignorant, but ignorant means they don't know. At this stage, if you don't know, you're belligerently ignorant. which means, in my opinion, you're stupid. Oh, I can't stand the freaking climate change people. I can't stand them. Evil, dude. Build back better. Build back better. Man, I wish I had. These guys all got money. They don't know what it's like to freeze. They've been everything been given a silver spoon. You know all this stuff. That's why they're throwing freaking using Getty money. Stop Oil now. They're getting funded by Getty's. The lady who inherited Getty's wealth, throwing freaking stuff on Monets and Van Goghs. You hear about the two ladies died in a climate protest in UK, Extinction Rebellion. Two ladies died because the ambulance is going to get through. These are evil people. Evil people, man. I tell you, the one thing that makes me mad, and the Republicans who fall for this crap too, Greg Abbott, it's just big wind. He knows he's just getting paid by big wind. It's not doing crap. Freaking Nebraska, Iowa, Maine, for the heaven's sakes. I don't know what LePage was doing. A lot of those winds were going up under LePage's watch. And they say, oh, we can't have nuclear because we're so scared about the radiation. How are you going to heat your house? Huh? Freaking, you're going to heat with electricity in your heat pump, are you? Yeah, good luck with that there, guy. So the scientific method, do you? Huh? You believe in the scientific method? Yeah. Let me guess. Scientific. I'm just going to start with evolution. You believe in the scientific method with evolution, do you? Huh? Let me see that scientific method with evolution, which is taught everywhere. There's no scientific method with evolution. Let's see the scientific method regarding climate change and all the predictions these guys have been saying for years and years and years. Let's see the scientific method with, James Hansen now has changed. Do we know who James Hansen is? Him and Tim Wirth in 1988, a Senate committee on global warming. What they did? Tim Wirth just happened to open the window in the middle of June in a very hot wave in Washington, D.C. and turn off the air conditioning so everyone's sweating like pigs. It's a great visual. Just like the moon landing. Fake. And people fell for it, dude. I can't believe you don't fall for the moon landing. So I guess climate change must be real. Climate change is real, 100%. Look, right now you can see outside my window. It's a hell of a lot different than it was 3 months ago. Hey, there's Tom Colonel. Tom got promoted to colonel, not lieutenant colonel. Yeah, sorry, I got so mad. I need to be asked for. Sorry, Lord, I didn't mean to get mad. Ask for forgiveness. People who can't. I'm trying not to be mad. That makes me mad. Of all the things, this is the biggest evil there is in society. Worse than this, because it all stems from the climate change false narrative. It's all from that. And it's just that people can't take 2 seconds to read. It's nuts to me, man. And they'll say, renewables. How is Britain getting the renewables? Anyone want to take a guess? They're chopping down virgin trees in the southeast, put them on a diesel freaking ship, shipping him to what used to be called the Drax facility in UK, which used to be coal, if memory serves. And they're using those wood chips for biomass. That's very clean. That's very renewable. Virgin trees in the southeast. Look, I got no qualm with that. It's capitalism, baby. But that's how they're getting the renewables. And how much CO2 is being spewed on those diesel ships that are going from freaking Port of Baltimore to the UK. It's insane. But yet we'll see these charts in the UK, and we'll see these charts in California. California had renewable that covered all their electricity for 5 minutes. Okay, and what happens next? It's a start. Yeah, it's a start. Let me show you something. I don't know if I can be able to show it to you. I hope I can. Well, let me see if I can't find it. I have it. Let me see if I can't find it. Hold on just a second. Because it's such a freaking scam. These guys are making money hand over fist on our ignorance. And it really pisses me off, man. It's not just our ignorance they're making money on the fear. The fear they're giving to people not to have kids. The freaking, it's no different than the day after that came out when I was 12 years old in 1982 about the nuclear war and all that stuff. It's no different. Let me see if I can't find this. Right here. Hopefully you guys can see this. for me? All right. Let's see if you guys can see. Share screen. Window. Yeah, I gotta share my. I gotta. Yeah. Hold on a second. Headline. So, okay. Okay, hold on a second. Oops. Right here. All right, sweet. Let's go to images. Let's see if it's still up there. I hope it is. And hold on just a second. Nope, not there. It's all right. It's all right. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry. I got you. I got you. Let's see if this shows it. Anyway, this isn't this. Just want to share this with you. It's actually pretty interesting. This isn't the article; it's just a takeaway of it. But so Jimmy, I have this, but from the Wall Street Journal in 1978, if memory serves, solar panel seen meeting 20% of needs by 2000. Solar power, 20% of needs by 2000. Now you not can see what I'm reading here, but I'm gonna read you what the article says from Walter Mossberg. This is written in 1978. Federal planners have concluded that solar energy can contribute as much as 20% of U.S. energy needs, not just electricity, energy needs. And if you buy that, I got some oceanfront property in Arizona. In 2000, energy, electricity is a part of energy. The level of absurdity is so flippin' stupid. Oh, the panels get more efficient. Just people, I don't understand how people can fall for this. It's nuts to me. The level of efficiency is fixed at a max. You're lucky inside a freaking lab, you can get about 33%. You're not getting 33% commercial manufactured solar panels. You're not. We're in 2022. We're not getting 20% of solar. It's not giving us our energy, not even close to our electricity. It's freaking stupid. The solar power that you get, the efficiencies, a good efficiency is 25%. Most that you'll have, the run-of-the-mill solar panels like I have, are 15 to 20, probably 15. That means for every square meter, all right, every square meter in the United States, the sun shines. When the sun's right above you at noon with no clouds, no wind, is shining on your square meter right there, you're getting about 1,100 watts. That's what's happening. So when the sun's right above you, it's shining at a square meter, which isn't a small space, 1,100 watts. You can convert that to electricity, what's called photovoltaic, which is using your solar panel. That's what happens here. You can't convert the whole thing to electricity, all right? Because efficiency, about 30, well, for simplicity, we're going to say 25%. So of that 1,100 watts, you're converting how much to electricity? All right, we'll say 300 watts. 300 watts, great. What happens when the sun goes down? Battery power. Yeah. And the battery power ain't doing it, man. Well, the technology's coming. No. Still using old-fashioned lead acid batteries. There's no battery power that's going to save us. But you know what has a significant battery power for electricity? This thing called uranium. Shh, don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. This thing called uranium has a lot of space, a huge battery that can power pretty much anything without CO2. It's uranium. Uranium's so dangerous. Galen Windsor said it wasn't. Galen Windsor ate it. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe some of the stuff we've been told is a lie. Could be, right, Pablo? But don't tell anybody about battery power with uranium. I mean, coal's got a great energy storage and density. Gasoline, petroleum. Anyway, so now on average in Atlanta, you get about 180 watts per square meter. And that includes when it's dark, and that includes when it's sunny right above there. On average, you get about 180 watts per square meter in Atlanta. You get about 120 in Portland, Maine, where I'm from. So you can see how Portland, Maine, if you're only getting 120 per square meter, that's not going to give you very much solar energy, that's for sure. So what you do is you simply take your trusty calculator. So if I can get 180 on average watts per square meter, times that by 4, times that by 20, 24, how much am I getting in the course of a day? Then you divide by your efficiency at 25%. And basically for one solar panel, 1 meter square solar panel, I get about 1.4 kilowatt hours of electricity, right? 1.4 per day for 1 meter. Yeah, that's good luck with that. Now, again, some places they can work to power stuff. I'm not saying you can't get it to run a lot of your utilities. I love it. When I get my retirement house, I'm certainly putting solar panels south facing with battery banks for you guys who have solar without batteries. Get your freaking batteries. The batteries, while they're not great, they can still provide you some level of recourse. It's insane to me people don't get batteries when they put solar panels in. I don't get it. Remember, having solar on your roof is just grid tied. You know, the whole point about solar, I get it's to reduce your electricity. I get all that, but it really should also be to give you a backup source of electricity. And the way to do that is with battery power. And that's what happens. So the solar panels go into your batteries, they fill up your batteries, the lights go off, your batteries kick in, and you're going to have a day, maybe 2, depending on how big your battery bank is. You're still going to need that old-fashioned coal-generated electricity, though, guaranteed. You're still going to need that good old-fashioned wood to heat your home, or natural gas. It's crazy. This is in 2022. We're nowhere near. It's just so silly. So we can talk about solar photovoltaic all we want. Wind is just crime against humanity. I mean, wind is just, those guys should be punished. But solar, in of itself, I love it. I like the idea, but until we get the batteries, it's not. So instead of focusing on efficiency of solar panels, we should be focused on battery storage. Oh, Elon Musk is going to rescue us. Oh, I can't believe it. I just sit there. I'm like, jeez. You think Elon Musk just happened on the scene because he's so brilliant? I think I got an article. I got an article over here about Elon Musk when he's just coming out in the late 90s. It's just such a clown show with his crazy dad and mom. This the whole thing's nuts. All right, let's see what else we got here. Joe says, best college class I took in philosophy department, formula logic, truth tables. Many had trouble grasping. Yeah. Actually, it's hey, well, all right, Jill. You're like Chloe. She loves her philosophy class and she likes math too. So Chloe might be right up her alley. Actually, Chloe gets mad at people come and say this is so boring or stupid, and they're all communication majors. Chloe's like, then just leave. I like it. I like talking to the professor about it. You don't like it, leave. But to go and say, oh, it's so stupid. Yeah. And anyway, it's fun how Chloe gets really upset by these clowns. All right. I hate school, Angie. I hated school, not just math. I hated school, man. It was Tom Colonel doing, man. But yeah, here we go. So here's these clowns. I bet I bet this guy right here. I'm gonna pick on him because he stood up. I bet he thinks, Josh, that the freaking lobsters are being killed by you. The right whales are being killed by mom and pop lobstermen in Maine because he read someplace in some clownish freaking some clown environmentalist group in California who said we got to put the mom and pop lobstermen out of business because the right whales are being killed. All the while, the freaking big rigs are going through to deliver freaking wood chips to UK. I bet he believes the freaking right whales are dying because you guys. So my man Josh here is a lobsterman in Maine. They're putting him out of work, not just him, but the whole freaking down east up there, because some rich, spoiled brat environmentalist group in Maine, in California, probably never been to Maine other than Bar Harbor once. You know what I'm saying? With George W. Bush and all their Kennebunkport clowns, and then freaking whoever else is the guy. There's a rich guy up there married to the Congresswoman Sherry Pingree. Freaking clowns. I guarantee these people never been to Maine whatsoever, other than one time. They said, the lobsters are not the lobsters, the right whales. We got to stop the right whales from being killed. But they don't care about the right whales. They want to dump a bunch of wind in the water outside of Maine. And the way you do that is get rid of the freaking competition, which is these guys, local mom and pop lobstermen. Oh, and where was Susan Collins? At least Janet Mills and Angus King showed up at a freaking meeting, a rally to stop this. Where is Susan Collins? Oh, she's talking to big wind. Yeah, don't give me this right versus left crap. As Republicans are anti-free or anti-environmental crap, they're just not as much as anybody else. Big wind's the biggest scam there is. I'm going up through Maine, beautiful, beautiful. Seeing them ruin with these freaking wind-powered turbines that aren't even moving. And when you get close, you're like, damn, those are pretty loud. It's such a man. This guy ticked me off. Why let this guy get me mad? Not Josh. Anyway, so Josh is a lobsterman. All right. The Main Reset channel, my friends. Watch that channel because they're putting them out of business. And no one cares other than the people being affected. Because people like Educated Wanderer says, oh, we got to protect the environment. You have ever actually looked at other alternative points of view? No, I can't because I believe the science. Oh, yeah, 100%. It's complete scam work, dude. Complete. The model, I don't have it up here anymore. So let's see if I have it. God, I was going to talk about other things too. And this guy just broke me. Oh, I'm so mad. There's another thing in there that the models always, every single model errs in one direction only. It's kind of like the media. It always errs in one direction only. They always over predict the temperatures. Every single one. It's insane. Anyway, just for the sea level is rising at 1 millimeter per year, or is it per decade? I can't remember. It's 1 millimeter. 1 millimeter. That's it. And you attribute that actually to, and I hate to even say this, but a contraction of the earth where basically, I'm not going to say the word gravity, but basically the land is settling. And so that's more water's coming up, or do you attribute that to the melting of the ice caps? I don't know, but 1 millimeter, it doesn't, that's, if you're worried about that, then I got nothing for you. Yeah, my man, right on, man. So here we go. Okay. Dude, educated warrior, you're not educated. You're educated in the orthodox. Oh God, dude, I can't. And this round NASA checked. Oh man, that's funny. I love it. And this is what they always say when you get called out. Stay in your lane. Don't challenge me because I don't know what I'm talking about, but I thought I did. And a lot of people just fall for it because I say I'm educated. It's a cult, man. It's literally a cult. They can't. Oh, yeah, you got to follow my man, Tony Heller. No, you don't have to be a cultist to disagree. But then you said for me to stick into something that I stay away from things I don't know about. And inherently I do. You don't. That's the funny thing is you don't. Because you're educated in the orthodox. And that doesn't mean anything to me. Dude, I've been doing this for a long time, man. I'm 52 years old. I didn't just wake up yesterday. I didn't wake up just yesterday. Thankfully, I was raised by hippie parents. Thank the good Lord. Because hippie parents back in the old days said, think. We had no TV. We had no car. So I read a lot from a kid, and I read a lot now. And I enjoyed immensely because there are fools out there with initials EW who think they know everything in a bag of chips and they don't know crap. And I've grown weary of these people because of what they've done, damage they've done to human beings who are innocent, who are ignorant but innocent. And this guy, because he calls himself educated, is actually not ignorant. Ignorant just means you don't know. It's worse than that. It's belligerent. He's a belligerent. And you can't have belligerence because that's where bad things happen. I bet Educated Warrior thinks Zelensky is the man of all men. Dude, Fetterman is a clown, dude. Jammu Kashmir will get freedom from, I don't know what that means, but it's interesting. Interesting. Mao Ham. I'm not sure what that means, but I got my eye on India. Supposedly India will be the biggest country by population by the end of this year. I get my eye on India, man, in a good way. I'm fan of India. Never want to go there. Don't like Indian food, but I'm a fan of India. You know, some of the people around here who come from India, They got to learn our cosmos a little bit better. There is this thing called a line. All right, you get in line, you stay in line till it's your turn. But man, it's a joke. You all know what I'm talking about, though. If you've been around Indians, you're like, oh, okay, just cut you. Like, whoa. Right now, educated a wanderer is like, how dare he? He offended me. He called Indians that they cut in line. How dare he? And we all know it's true. Yeah, it's a labor of love for these guys. I love them, but it's like, just follow the customs here in the United States. I'm going to take this down because there's no way YouTube's going to like this on here. Whoa, yeah. Dude, you guys don't understand what's going to happen in Maine this year. There's already rationing, dude. LePage was talking about that. Is LePage? I don't think he's got a chance in hell to win, unfortunately. I haven't heard anything with LePage. Freaking Tom Colonel keeps his opinions to himself. Yeah, but Tom, if you disagree with me different, man, I'm not going to bash you because you've been around. Educated warrior, whatever the hell his name is. I mean, just he comes out of nowhere, starts spouting, keep your opinions to yourself if you don't know anything. It's just stupid. Now, we can disagree. I just hate, I hate do better and stay in your lane. I hate those things because it's such a cop out. How dare you? What makes you mad is a vapid cultist drone stick. Yeah, 100%. I hate it. That's how I knew the climate. So I started my journey in the truth, if you will, when the whole climate change thing was always nuts to me. I said, that doesn't make any sense. I don't know why. I just always, maybe it's because I was from Maine and I recognize the need for heat. And I said, man, these guys are trying to shut down heat and stuff like that. But I also don't like how everyone and their mom just threw in. And generally speaking, when everyone and their mom throws in, I'm like, yeah, I'm on the, like, I didn't like the Celtics growing up. I like the Lakers. The Red Sox didn't do anything. The Patriots weren't very good. And the Bruins weren't doing much anyway. So, but I've always been a contrarian, man. You know what I'm saying? Always been, always will be. That's why I like heavy metal. Everyone else listen to Madonna. Oh, and Depeche Mode. And oh gosh, I just want to stick my head in a vice and squeeze. But I've always been a contrarian by nature. So I saw everyone falling for the climate change stuff. It started at the beginning of the late 90s and into the 2000s with Al Gore. I said, I don't like it. But anyway, long story short, then when I started questioning the jabbers, this is well before 2020, it was the exact same arguments. You don't follow the science. You want grandma to die. You want kids to die. You don't care about it's like, it was weird. They never challenge your question. They just say, I follow the science. I'm reasonable. I'm open. And you're a Nazi, or you don't believe in science. It's just like this clown. I'm just like, oh, I remember it's like I said, well, you guys are literally, you're spouting off literally the exact same stuff as the climate change people did, which said, oh, okay, I'm onto something here. And then you start looking at the MMR, DPTs, and all the things of polio and whatnot. You're like, oh, this story has never been told. The other side of this thing is interesting. It's never been told. The reason it's never been told because it can't be. Inherently, it can't be because then people question. It's like statins. Everyone, their mom takes a statin. They think statins are good. New York Times was putting statins in the water. Everyone's like, yeah, statins. And then you're like, wait a second. There's a counter to that with statins. And you're like, okay, why is that not getting out there? And then you realize, we're run by a cabal. And unfortunately, the cabal controls everything, include the Republican Party. And so then you start seeing what happened in 2020 relative to the jabs. And you knew what I said, man, I've seen this all before, man. I've seen it all before. The same thing, man. And the same thing if you question the moon landing. People say, it's literally the same thing. You're like, well, hereby questions, we can go into Van Allen belt. We can go into, going at 25,000 miles to escape the atmosphere. We can go into the fact that later, a few years ago, they said the moon was in the atmosphere. Now they're saying the moon's not in the atmosphere. A million different things to question about the moon landing. And they always say, you're conspiracy theorists. Okay, maybe I am, but still you don't answer the questions. How does dust stick to people on the moon? when there's no atmosphere and there's no moisture. I mean, there's a million different things you can look at the moon landing and say, yeah, that doesn't make sense. Never mind. Gus from Indiana, who died literally him and two other astronauts died on the launch pad. His last words like, if we can't communicate with each other between these buildings, how are we going to communicate on the moon? And then the thing just went, and he was a skeptic of it, by the way. And they probably killed him. And then the whole thing went up, and NASA was done for. James Webb leaves. A number of higher ups in NASA leave, and then literally 18 months later, we're on the moon. Okay, with that paper mache thing that's put together with duct tape. That doesn't make sense. And there's a million different challenges there. Now, am I right? I don't know. I think it's interesting, but certainly I'm willing to challenge it with these questions that have come to my mind. Yeah, it's just the whole thing does. But they'll all say the same thing. Stick to what you know, stay in your lane, trust the science. I'm like, yeah, I don't trust the science. If you trust, because again, the science is this devious organization called the science. Remember, Fauci said, I am the science. If you doubt me, you're doubting the science. And I said, well, Fauci, your batting record is not good. You're below the Mendoza line. Why the hell should I trust you? And for you that don't know baseball, Mendoza he hit 200 for the Pittsburgh Pirates. I think it's the Pirates. And so basically that's called the Mendoza line. A good defense, no bat. So he said, if you're hitting below 200, you're hitting below the Mendoza line. It's going to be tough to make it in the baseball with the batting average at 200. Oh yeah, dude. Satan is 100% alive. 100%. So Angie's trying to steer people away from my channel to Steve's Corner. Interesting. Angie says, hey, I just want this. If you like Josh, you like this guy better, or you like this guy, Steve's Corner, just like Josh, but without the conspiracy theories. Yeah, look at Denise. Look at that. There you go. Good job, Denise. Yeah, everyone start looking at Steve's Corner. Everyone follow him now. Oh, there we go. Andrew Roth. Joe Coon's pretty good. All right, everybody follow him. Yeah. Go ahead. Everybody look. Yeah. Everybody go to Joe Coon. Actually, I like Joe Coon. I don't know Steve's Corner. But yeah, everybody go away from my channel. Angie doesn't like my conspiracy, so going over there. The way Biden decimated the oil fracking jobs and pipeline. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Go to Joseph Carlson. Everybody go there. Go to Rob Berg or whatever his name is. Yeah. Everybody go over there. Okay. Everybody go. Installing 14 kilowatt photovoltaic with 40 kilowatt hour power walls. That's fantastic. I'm going to do the same damn thing. But I know you don't, Kay, because I know what you said about NASA. And I know you can't power society on that, but you can power your home. What I'm saying. Oh, yeah, there's Denise. She's leaving. So Angie told Denise about Steve's Corner. Now Denise is leaving. How ironic. Yeah. Oh, there goes Andrew Roth. And there's Libby Winter. Right on, Libby. All right. Yeah, freaking these. You don't even get me started, Libby. Yeah, right. We actually had Hank down here in Atlanta. Hank Johnson said if we put Navy too many naval bases on one side of Guam, it's going to tip over. Crazy. Hey, we got South Jersey in the house. Right on, man. Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy. Damn, 6 on Nantucket. Oh, then there's Josh. He says he got to go Officerman, but no, he's going to watch Steve's Corner. Thanks, Josh. Yeah. Tom Colonel, did you see what Harry said? He said what happened to Tom Major, and Harry said he got promoted to colonel. Oh, dude, that made my day. I don't like getting mad. I'm sorry. I didn't want to scream at this guy. I don't think I screamed. I take it personal when people are trying to make me freeze. And that's what these people are trying to do. Because I'm poor white boy from Maine. And I remember going to my house, wondering if my mom paid the heating oil bill. And you would know, because you're supposed to get oil delivered, and you'd go into the home after school, freezing your ass off, and you'd open up the door, and your dog would come. We had a dog named Doggy. He would jump on you. It was actually colder inside than it was outside. What growls? And when that happened, you're like, what do I do? Because I can't freeze in here because it's colder inside than outside, but I can't. It's cold outside. I can't just stay outside. So I go to the library if it's open, and that would give me reprieve from the freezing cold. And I read, and I never really did homework because I hated school, but it's you live like that long enough, it affects you, dude. It makes you mad what rich kids who never had to freaking dig a ditch in their life. And yes, I'm being dramatic. I'm painting with a broad brush. But it makes you mad when people try to deny that right of heating because they have this fear of climate change, which is so freaking, it's global warming, which is so idiotic. Explain the medieval warm period, educated warrior. How did that happen? How did the medieval warm period happen? If CO2 leads to increasing temperatures, how did the medieval warm period happen? Explain the little ice age. Oh, the Krakatoa, whatever that thing was. No, happened before that. How did the 70s get so cold when we're spewing parts per million through that? How did the 30s get so hot? Oh, by the way, you know where we're keeping a lot of the thermostats? Oh, next to an airport. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, let's put it on the tarmac where jets and air conditioning units are running. Yeah, there you go. That makes sense. These people don't know what they're talking about, but they think they do. Now I'm getting mad again. It freaking. Oh, Andrew. I like Joe Coon. He and I were goofing on each other a couple. I don't say goofing on each other. I guess we were kind of in a good way. I don't watch that many financial planning channels, but I see his. I've subscribed to his. And I see his thumbnails. Hey, what? Exactly. Why do you think they say to sing to your plants? Because your voice? No, because of CO2. Because the plants need CO2. It's insane. We all know CO2 is plant food. Why do you think the earth is greening? Oh my goodness. Could it have something to do? A correlation that actually affects CO2, greening world. Crazy. I thought the green's like freaking world. I bet, Angie. I bet I bet it's your husband. I bet you said he's out there painting and he's actually doing videos right now saying, don't listen to Josh, he's a conspiracy theorist. And you're saying, hey, everybody, go to Steve's Corner. Yeah. Oh, 100%. Neil deGrasse Tyson, man. Yeah, we talked about him earlier today. Love Neil deGrasse Tyson. All right. Yeah, CO2. And there's going to be a lack of CO2. We know this. There's a lack of fertilizer. We know this. And just, oh my goodness, the people, my man. So I subscribe to the Energy Advocate by Howard Hayden. And he's just got a plethora of books. I already got this book, but he sent me, there he goes, Howard. He sent me another one too. Anyway, this is where I get off. This is where I got this book. 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 So many books. I love it. Anyway, because when these fools come up here, they say, I'm so smart. I got a degree in physics. And I'm like, are you? Are you so smart? I got no exactly. Oh, by the way, I have a plant-based diet. All the cows I eat plants. All right. Thanks, Andrew. No, sure. Yeah, it depends on what kind of fertilizer. I'm just goofing on you guys. All right, I'm gonna get out of here, man. It was Rick P. Rick P in the house, bro. Man, I appreciate you guys being here. It's great. Again, I still feel bad. I got mad at that guy. I don't feel bad. I got mad at him. I feel bad that I wasn't prepared to debate him better. Just the onslaught of silliness just hit me when I wasn't prepared. It just is such. I can't take stupidity. It's okay to ask questions. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? How can I don't even know if I want to say, no, never mind. It's okay to ask questions. Anyway, Donkey Shorts, right on. Yeah, there's Angie. Yeah, Angie knows. Angie, you know why we say Donkey Shorts, right? 100% right there. If all the climate change believers quit using fossil fuels, they could test their theories. Absolutely. But yeah, exactly. They're saying, John, we want to keep flying all over the world to Davos. We want you to stop. Lastly, Morningstar every year does a conference on ESG and green. in Chicago, and people from all over the world fly into Chicago. I said, "Do you guys not realize just how idiotic that is? I can't believe they don't get it. It's like, how could you be that just dumb? I mean, at least live." Yeah, I know, Annette. I know, educate. I know, Annette. I get it. I know. I know. Just he caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting that. I had a couple other things I want to talk about. I'm done now. But anyway. All right, amigos. We'll see you on Thursday, noon Eastern time. Anything comes up. Oh, maybe I'll put questions in advance. That's what we should do. I'll put it out there earlier on the so if you have a question, you can put it in the notes first. Just put it in caps if that makes sense. So if I put the thing earlier where you see that there's a live stream coming up, you can, if you have questions or something like that, you can put it in the comments here, and just put in caps so I know it's a question or something like that. All right, gotta go. God bless. See you guys.